Nicolas Maduro is calling that aid sent by Washington fake humanitarian aid. And he says that the whole Venezuela crisis has been fabricated by Washington in order to justify intervention. I mean, how imminent do you think this intervention could end up being?
Well, I think right now it's at the threat level, hoping to urge or to motivate cracks and defections within the military. Hopefully it's not imminent and that it will not actually occur, but is being used more as a threat. If it did occur, it could be, extremely risky and destructive for all sides.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, realistically, what can the US do? Because, their involvement, as you say, could do more harm than good, even to Guaido himself.
Yes, certainly. I think supporting all avenues for communication, for talks, opening channels, such as the International Contact Group that Europe was leading with Latin American countries, to open up those channels of communication between the opposition and the Maduro government, and particularly to talk about, first, an agreement on the humanitarian aid, to allow it in peacefully because the people desperately need it. And second, to talk about a political transition that guarantees the political rights of all. So those who are surrounding Maduro now need to know and understand what their political life will be in a potential new Venezuela, what the process would be. And of course, those that are closest to him and most involved in potentially criminal activities need to know what would happen to them, because right now they're scared and they're going to stick with Maduro if they don't perceive that they have any future, and instead would only be jailed or driven out of the country.
Yeah, I mean, Maduro's got the army still around him, as you say, and they seem to be standing by him for now. But he's also got allies outside of Venezuela, notably Russia and also China and some other countries. I mean, how would they accept US intervention, and what might they do by way of a countermove?
Well, certainly they would oppose it, but many would oppose a military intervention. Latin Americans have also spoken against this, as have Venezuelans themselves, in public opinion polls within Venezuela. Whether it could actually trigger an armed response from Russia, of course, would be a huge concern, but potentially, perhaps unlikely that it would trigger that. But the biggest risk would be to what extent the military or lower levels of, armed groups in Venezuela would resist, would fight to try to stop any kind of such military accompaniment of aid or attempt to open up those roads that are blocked. And that's where the risk comes in of a bloody conflict.
Okay, we're going to have to leave